Imagine you're lying in bed at night, ready to drift off after a long day, and you pull the covers up only to feel that familiar chill settling into your toes and the balls of your feet, no matter how many blankets you add. Or maybe the next morning you swing your legs over the side of the bed, stand up to head toward the bathroom, and right away there's this subtle drag, like your legs are a second behind the rest of you, carrying an extra invisible load that makes each step feel just a little more effortful than it should. These quiet, persistent feelings don't announce themselves with fanfare. They simply arrive bit by bit until they're part of the background of your days. It's so easy to tell yourself, this is what happens after 60 or 70. It's just age doing its thing. But let me speak to you as a friend who's seen this pattern countless times. And for more than 2 decades, my work has centered on how blood vessels and circulation behave in our later years, especially for people over 60. I've sat with hundreds of folks just like you, hearing the same gentle but repeated descriptions. Feet that refuse to warm up even in a cozy room, legs that feel heavy and burdened after nothing more than a trip to the mailbox or around the grocery store, random tingles or prickly sensations that wander up and down like little electric sparks, cramps that yank you awake in the dark, ankles that swell and feel tight by dinner time, or that slow dawning awareness that your legs simply don't have the same lively bounce and reliable strength they once gave you for everything from climbing stairs to chasing after grandchildren. We tend to brush these off as the price of getting older, but the deeper reality is that the calendar alone isn't the main reason. Poor blood flow reaching the legs and feet is usually sitting right at the heart of these everyday frustrations. And the longer we ignore those soft nudges from our body, the more it can quietly erode our freedom to move easily, our confidence in handling things on our own, and the simple joy we take in ordinary activities. Strong circulation to the lower part of the body is about far more than comfortable steps. It's the vital pipeline delivering oxygen-loaded blood and essential nutrients, so muscles can stay firm and quick to respond when you need them, so nerves can transmit clear, accurate messages without garbled signals or strange sensations, and so every tissue can mend itself and remain resilient. When that delivery slows or becomes uneven, a chain reaction of difficulties begins to form beneath the surface. Muscles gradually lose power and tire much sooner during routine tasks. Nerves may misfire and create numbness, tingling, or odd feelings. Minor scrapes or bruises linger much longer and heal poorly, and even basic balance, something as simple as stepping onto a slightly uneven floor mat or turning quickly, demands more conscious effort and caution. The most troubling aspect is how quietly this unfolds. It sends these faint, easy-to-dismiss warnings for months, often years, before any sharp or persistent pain finally breaks through and insists on attention. Our bodies are remarkably adaptive. They find clever workarounds, reroute resources, and help us keep going so we don't fully register the growing strain. But adaptation has its limits, and once those are reached, the risks become more real. Greater chance of falls that lead to painful bruises, sprains, or fractures, wounds that heal slowly and sometimes turn into chronic issues or infections, nerve damage that brings ongoing discomfort or reduced feeling, progressive muscle wasting that makes ordinary strength harder to maintain, and a steady narrowing of mobility that touches every part of life, from running errands to enjoying time with family. This whole topic takes on special weight once we move past 60. Over many years, the blood vessels that used to be supple and quick to adjust start to stiffen and lose their natural elasticity. The heart's pumping action may become a little less forceful or steady than it once was. Blood can thicken just a bit in its consistency, and the combined impact of years of low-grade inflammation, eating habits that could be better, chronic stress that never fully lets up, and too many hours spent in one position, sitting at the table, standing in the kitchen, or resting on the couch, slowly causes the arteries feeding the legs to narrow. These changes never burst onto the scene suddenly. They accumulate so gradually and silently that we adjust without noticing the full extent of the shift. Then, almost without warning, a short walk you used to enjoy now leaves you breathing harder. Your feet stay cool even when wrapped in wool socks, or your legs run out of energy much earlier while doing simple household things like folding laundry or watering plants. So many people cling to the belief that circulation only becomes a genuine concern when it produces severe, constant pain that brings daily life to a halt. That's a dangerous misconception because that level of pain usually appears late in the process, after circulation has already been compromised for a long time. By the point pain becomes loud enough to demand action, the body has been quietly struggling and compensating for years. Reduced blood flow silently increases the likelihood of falls that result in injuries, wounds, or sores that take forever to close and risk complications, nerve issues that cause persistent tingling, numbness or weakness, muscle loss that erodes everyday power, and an overall decline in mobility that affects independence in everything from getting dressed in the morning to attending family events or going out with friends. The hopeful piece, and this is what I truly want you to hold close, is that a lot of us imagine improving circulation requires major interventions, relying on medications, undergoing procedures, or committing to intense exercise plans that feel overwhelming with achy joints, lower energy, or busy schedules. Those options play a role in certain medical situations, but they don't represent the full range of possibilities. One of the fastest, most accessible, and genuinely effective ways to begin supporting better circulation, especially valuable after 60, starts with a habit you already practice several times every day. Choosing what you drink, but choosing it thoughtfully to give your blood vessels, blood thickness, and overall flow the precise help they need right now. In the time we have here, I'm going to walk you through a clear, practical 5-step approach that promotes smoother blood movement to the legs, ensures more consistent oxygen delivery to muscles and nerves, and can help your legs feel noticeably warmer, less weighed down, and stronger for the things you love to do. Every part of this draws directly from trustworthy research conducted at institutions like Harvard, Boston University, and multiple studies dedicated to vascular health in older adults. If any part of this description feels familiar, if cold feet have been bothering you, if your ankles swell by evening, or if your legs tire more quickly than they used to, take a quick moment to drop a comment with your age and a brief note about what you've noticed. It helps me understand where you're coming from and makes our conversation feel more personal. Let's break down what's really happening inside in plain, straightforward terms, so it loses some of its mystery and feels more manageable. As we enter our 60s, 70s, and further along, 4 significant changes take place that directly influence how effectively blood reaches the legs and feet. The first involves the arteries themselves. Picture them as a favorite garden hose you've used season after season. It slowly loses its flexibility, hardens in places, and narrows from years of buildup and irritation. In medical language, this is arterial stiffness, and it creates added resistance that makes it harder for blood to travel the full distance to your toes and feet. A long-term study from Boston University followed approximately 500 adults over 10 years, regularly checking artery flexibility and recording how people's legs felt and performed in daily life. The findings were clear and powerful. Those with greater arterial stiffness were 52% more likely to experience persistent cold feet, quick leg fatigue during light activity, and obvious difficulty walking longer distances. If you've already tried massaging your legs, wearing special compression socks, or applying warming creams you picked up at the pharmacy, those can provide temporary comfort, but they don't address the root change. The vessels themselves have become less capable of expanding and contracting to allow easy, full flow. The second change centers on nitric oxide, a natural molecule produced in the lining of blood vessels that acts as a gentle signal for them to relax, widen, and let blood pass through smoothly. After age 60, our bodies naturally produce less of this molecule. Think of nitric oxide as a calm, helpful traffic guide at a busy intersection. When that guide is less present, vessels stay tighter, flow slows, backups occur, and the tissues farther downstream, particularly in the calves and feet, receive less consistent oxygen and nutrients. Harvard researchers examined this in adults over 65 and found that increasing dietary nitrates, which the body converts into nitric oxide, resulted in a 25% improvement in comfortable walking distance after only 2 weeks. That's a meaningful difference from a relatively simple adjustment. A frequent misstep at this point is thinking that simply forcing more walking or general activity will solve everything on its own, or choosing to wait until symptoms become severe before making any changes. Both ideas can lead to further trouble because they overlook important pieces of the puzzle. Your calf muscles deserve special attention. They serve as a built-in pump for venous return. Every time you take a step, shift your weight, or even flex your ankle slightly, the calves contract and squeeze the veins, helping push blood back up toward the heart against gravity. When those muscles weaken, whether from reduced activity, poorer circulation, or the natural effects of aging, the pumping action becomes less efficient. Blood pools more readily in the lower legs, swelling increases, pressure builds in the veins, and the entire circulatory cycle grows more sluggish. Imagine trying to draw water up through a tube with a hand pump. If you stop working the handle consistently, the water just sits at the bottom. A study published in the Journal of Geriatric Physical Therapy tested this concept with older adults and found that dedicating just 10 minutes a day to simple calf-focused movements increased blood flow to the lower legs by 38% after 4 weeks. If you've experienced cramps in your calves, even after a modest walk around the neighborhood, that's frequently your body's way of signaling that this natural pump needs reinforcement to function better. The fourth element often surprises people because it seems almost too basic: hydration. As we age, our sense of thirst becomes less sharp. We don't feel as parched even when fluid levels dip below ideal. Many older adults live with mild, chronic dehydration without realizing it, and that thicker blood makes the heart work harder while slowing the delivery of oxygen and nutrients to the most distant areas, like the toes and calves. Clinical studies on seniors have demonstrated that even mild dehydration can reduce circulation to the legs by 15 to 20%, causing muscles to fatigue much more quickly during normal activities. Plain water helps, but the composition of what you drink matters greatly. Including electrolytes, trace minerals, and natural nitrates helps maintain vessel flexibility and supports continued nitric oxide production. The real complexity arises because these 4 changes don't operate in isolation. They interact in a quiet, reinforcing cycle. Stiffer arteries demand more effort from the muscles. Weaker muscles permit greater pooling and swelling, which adds back pressure on the vessels. Lower nitric oxide prevents optimal vessel dilation, further limiting flow. Dehydration thickens blood, increasing strain across the entire system. Because each factor amplifies the others and the initial signs remain so subtle, most people allow the process to continue unchecked for years before the cumulative effects become impossible to overlook. To bring this closer to your own life, let me share about 2 people whose journeys I believe will resonate. Margaret was 68, always active. She kept a beautiful garden, walked regularly with friends, and stayed involved in family life. But over time, her legs began feeling heavy and tired after only a few blocks. Her feet turned cold as evening arrived, and her ankles swelled noticeably each day. One afternoon she sat across from me, her voice catching a little, and said, "I feel like my legs are quitting on me before I'm ready to quit on anything else. It's frightening because I don't want to lose the ability to do the things that make me happy." She worried about becoming dependent, about missing out on gardening or family outings. We introduced the CIRC protocol, combining nitrate-rich hydration, gentle calf-strengthening exercises, short, regular walks, warmth routines for the legs and feet, meals designed to reduce inflammation and nourish vessels, and breaking up long periods of sitting. In the first week, she woke up to warmer feet instead of the usual chill. By the second week, ankle swelling had decreased by about half, making her favorite shoes feel comfortable again. After 4 weeks, she could climb stairs without the draining heaviness she'd grown accustomed to, and by 8 weeks her calves felt stronger and more reliable. Her blood pressure, previously around 142/88, settled to 125/78 without medication adjustments. Above all, she described walking with greater confidence, less fear of stumbling, and more enjoyment in movement. Robert, 72, a retired teacher who had spent years standing and moving in classrooms, recently found himself dealing with intense nighttime leg cramps that disrupted sleep, numb toes after sitting for any length of time, and ankle swelling that made him reluctant to take his usual daily walks. He felt disheartened because activities that once energized him now seemed to work against him. We applied the same circ approach, beginning each day with a nitrate drink, incorporating easy-seated and standing calf exercises, adding short walks around the house or yard, using cozy socks and occasional warm foot soaks, and adjusting meals towards circulation-supportive choices. Changes appeared sooner than he anticipated. Within 10 days, cramps had eased by roughly 60%, allowing deeper, more restorative sleep. By 3 weeks, his feet stayed warmer all day, and numbness occurred less frequently and less intensely. At 6 weeks, he could walk 40% farther without frequent stops, and he noticed improved stability when standing or changing direction. By 10 weeks, ankle swelling had largely resolved, and lab results showed better nitric oxide markers. Both Margaret and Robert came to see that intentional circulation support doesn't merely reduce discomfort. It restores lost function, rebuilds endurance for meaningful activities, and safeguards the independence that keeps life vibrant. The approach I recommend is called the CIRC protocol, Circulation Improvement Routine for the Legs, and it consists of 5 straightforward steps, each targeting one of the main changes we've discussed. Let's explore them carefully so you can see exactly how they can fit into your daily life. The 5th step, which frequently produces some of the first noticeable shifts, focuses on thoughtful hydration with a nitrate boost. Mix 2 to 4 ounces of plain beet juice in a glass, or, if the flavor feels too strong on its own, stir half a teaspoon of beetroot powder into water. Add a tiny pinch of mineral-rich salt, such as sea salt or Himalayan, or a fresh squeeze of lemon for taste and better absorption. This drink promotes nitric oxide production, encourages blood vessels to relax and widen, and improves overall flow. Harvard research demonstrated that seniors following a similar practice gained about 25% more comfortable walking endurance. Take it first thing upon waking, ideally before eating, and again in the mid-afternoon, when many people experience a natural energy lull. If you take blood pressure medication, have kidney concerns, or notice any digestive discomfort with beets, check with your doctor first for peace of mind. The 4th step emphasizes gentle movements to reactivate the calf pump. No special equipment or gym membership is required, just simple actions you can do seated or standing with support nearby. Try ankle circles, slowly 10 in each direction, feeling the gentle stretch, or calf raises, rising onto your toes and lowering smoothly, or seated leg lifts, holding the legs straight for a few seconds before resting. Spread 10 minutes across the day, perhaps a short set after your morning drink, another mid-morning or after lunch, and one more in the evening before bed. These repeated contractions strengthen the upward push of blood, reduce pooling, and support the entire circulatory system. For the 3rd step, incorporate warmth to promote vessel relaxation and better oxygen delivery. Slip on thicker, cozy socks during cooler parts of the day, Enjoy a 10 to 15 minute soak in warm, not hot water in the evening, or apply light, upward massage strokes to your calves and feet. Combining warmth with your nitrate drink often enhances results. Drink first, then apply warmth later for added vessel relaxation and flow. The second step involves eating patterns that calm inflammation and nourish blood vessels. Make room for abundant leafy greens such as spinach, kale, or romaine. Enjoy berries and citrus fruits regularly. Include small handfuls of nuts or seeds, and incorporate omega-3 rich foods like salmon, walnuts, or flax seeds. Meanwhile, reduce heavily processed packaged items and keep added sugars low. These choices help decrease arterial stiffness and facilitate smoother blood travel. The first step underscores the value of frequent movement rather than infrequent intense sessions. Every hour or so, stand and move for 2 to 3 minutes. Walk to another room. Do ankle rolls while holding the counter. March lightly in place, or stretch your legs. If possible, add a short daily walk or low-impact cycling for 10 minutes at a time. Consistency through short, scattered bursts keeps circulation active far more effectively than one longer effort. When these 5 steps work together, nitrate hydration providing the base, calf activation adding the pump, warmth encouraging relaxation, anti-inflammatory eating supporting vessel health, and frequent movement preventing stagnation, the benefits accumulate steadily and reinforce each other. People following the CIRC protocol typically observe a consistent progression. In the first week, feet often feel warmer, especially mornings, and overall leg heaviness begins to ease subtly. Week 2 commonly brings reduced ankle swelling and milder or fewer nighttime cramps. By weeks 3 and 4, walking feels easier with less need for breaks, and balance grows steadier during routine movements like rising from a chair or turning. After a month or so, more tangible changes emerge. Calves feel firmer and stronger, nitric oxide levels improve, and arteries respond more effectively. This occurs in layers: hydration and vessel responsiveness first, warmth and reduced fatigue next, then enhanced endurance and recovery. This protocol supports circulation, but does not cure vascular disease or substitute for prescribed treatments. Never discontinue medications without your doctor's approval. Consult your physician before beginning, particularly if you take blood pressure or blood-thinning medications, have a history of kidney stones, or manage advanced heart or vascular conditions. Start gently, smaller beat amounts, lighter movements, and progress only as your body adapts comfortably. Here's my gentle invitation. Pick one element of the CIRC protocol that feels most doable right now. The morning nitrate drink, a few minutes of calf movements throughout the day, or standing to move briefly every hour. Commit to that single piece consistently for 30 days. When the month ends, return here and share in the comments what you noticed, no matter how small the change. Your legs have carried you faithfully through decades of life, through work days, family celebrations, quiet walks, and everything in between. They deserve continued care and appreciation rather than being dismissed as just getting older. Supporting circulation with these simple habits helps preserve mobility, independence, and the everyday pleasures that make life feel full and worthwhile. Pay attention to those subtle body messages, embrace steady small steps, and trust that thoughtful consistency can lead to real, lasting improvement. You're worth the effort. Be kind to yourself.